Hello, my name is Katie Merkel and I am recording this video from the Joseph T. Simpson Public Library. As many of you know, I read over 600 books in 2021 and I wanted to share with you my top 10 favorites. I'll be going from 10 to 1, with 1 being the absolute favorite of 2021. Warning, there may be some spoilers in this video, so if you don't want spoilers, have someone preview it for you. All right, so book number 10 in my list of top 10 favorites is If Picasso Painted a Snowman by Amy and Greg Newbold. I really love this book because it introduces kids to different artists and their styles through the question of, well, how would they paint a snowman? I thought it was super creative and cute, and I highly recommend it. Number 9 on my list was The Very Last Leaf by Steph Wade, illustrated by Jennifer Davison. Now, this book is great because the protagonist, Lance Cottonwood, is a straight-A student. He's succeeded at all the things a leaf has to do, and now he has his final, which is falling, and Lance is afraid to fall. And I really like this because I feel, myself as a straight-A student, whenever I struggled with something, I know that could be hard and even embarrassing because people expected me to be good at things. And I feel like it addresses that, but it also addresses the fact that something could be scary when it's new. And it's okay to be afraid, and it's okay to talk to people about what's scaring you and that you can face your fear and overcome it. And I like that moral, but I also like that it goes through the different jobs of a leaf during its life cycle. So it mixes science with, overcoming fear. So it's a really good book for kids. I love it. I recommend you read it. Number 8, not for kids, it's one of my all-time favorites, is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. And this is my guilty pleasure book. It's my stress book. Whenever I'm going through a stressful time, I have trouble reading a new book because I need something that is familiar. I've learned that about myself. And so in 2020 and 2021, I read this book at least 3 times between the 2 years for obvious reasons. They were stressful. I'm sure everyone can relate. And I absolutely adore Pride and Prejudice because Elizabeth Bennet is so spunky. She's born in a time where she doesn't have a lot of options. It's her job to marry well. She knows when her father dies, she's not going to have, enough money to take care of herself. And she gets 2 absolutely horrific marriage proposals. They are some of the worst proposals in literature, in my humble opinion. I love them. I would hate being on the receiving end of them, but they are absolutely fantastic as, just watching how badly they crash and burn. I also love Mr. Darcy. He's noble at first. Yeah, he's too proud, but he's got a heart of gold, and I've got to love me some Mr. Darcy. Also, the rest of the cast of characters they range from intelligent to absolutely ridiculous, from, the moral paragons of virtue and hard work to, don't go near this person, they're swindlers. And I just really get a lot of pleasure from the different beats that go through Elizabeth's life as she changes, as Mr. Darcy changes, and as they ultimately find each other. So yes, this is one of my favorites of all times, and I love it. So number 7 from my 2021 reads is Beauty, a retelling of the story of Beauty and the Beast by Robin McKinley. I love fairy tales. I love to read fairy tale rewrites, and I've read a lot of different versions of Beauty and the Beast, and some versions have always bothered me because the way they do the magic doesn't make sense to me. And this book actually kind of surprised me how much I liked it, because one of my pet peeves with Beauty and the Beast is when the castle rearranges itself. I'm directionally challenged. I do not appreciate buildings that rearrange how they are organized on me. I have enough trouble when they stay still. I think it's rude for them to rearrange when I'm not looking. But I like the way they explained the magic in this one. Also, I think it's interesting in different versions of Beauty and the Beast, what happened to the staff. Are they kind of magically disappeared? Were they turned into objects, animals? Are they serving but invisible? And this book was just really interesting because it doesn't fully explain the magic, but explained it in a way that things that sometimes bothered me made sense, and I bought them. I also thought it was interesting that Beauty doesn't think she's beautiful. She actually believes she's rather plain. And for once, she and her sisters get along. Her sisters are actually wonderful human beings. So it was different and similar to other versions I'd read, but I thought it was really well executed, and I really enjoyed this version of Beauty and the Beast. I've read it 2 or 3 times, I think, over the years, one last time being in 2021, and I now finally own my own copy. It was one of those, you love it so much you got to get your own version books. Number 6, going back to picture books, is Mama Seton's Whistle. And I actually cried when I read this book the first time because it is just this tender story of a mother. She has 4 kids, When her first child is about 2, she whistles to call him home for dinner, and there's almost a magic quality to the whistle. It can reach her children wherever they are, and when they get older, they go farther and farther away from home, but the whistle always finds them. It's not a fancy whistle, it's just 2 simple notes, but it has all the mother's love, and they hear it and they come running. And then maybe this book hit me because my siblings and I are all grown up now, and my mom talked about empty nest syndrome, but you know, Mrs. Seton is missing her children, and her husband's like, you know, just pretend, go out and whistle. And she does, and her kids hear the whistle all around the world. It finds them, they come running home. And it was just a super, super sweet story. So yeah, Mama Seton's Whistle by Jerry Spinelli, art by Nguyen Pham. Highly recommend this book. Okay, number 5 favorite is While Mama Had a Quick Little Chat by Amy Reichert, illustrated by Alexandra Boiger. This book made me laugh because it reminded me of being a child at my one friend's house. My mom would come and say it was time to go, and I always knew I had 20 extra minutes to play before I had to start packing up because she and my friend's mom would talk for 30 minutes. I never fessed that up to my mom as a child because then I would lose my 20 minutes of extra playtime. But I feel like a lot of kids can relate to mom saying something, it'll just take a minute, or it's time to go, and it's not really because mom's doing something. And so in this story, Rose, the protagonist, is told to get ready for bed while her mom has a quick little chat, and a bunch of ridiculousness ensues. A whole party's going on in the house, and Rose keeps calling for her mom to see, is this okay? And the mom's like, don't pester me, or just a moment, I'm almost done. So it's just a comedic book, which I recommend. I enjoyed it as an adult. I think kids will enjoy it. It's great for read alouds. Number 4. This book I read when I was younger, and when I decided to do my post on mathematical books, I had to find it because I liked it so much as a kid, still love it as an adult. It is One Grain of Rice, a mathematical folktale by Demi. And in the story, you've got 2 main characters, the Raja, who thinks he's wise and good and just, but he's actually rather selfish. And you've got the lovely heroine, Rani. She's a peasant, she's very intelligent, and she one day is able to return some rice to the Raja that was falling out of a basket. He rewards her, and she uses her intelligence to trick him into giving her all of the rice so she can feed the hungry populace. And so it's got that nice fairy tale where the protagonist is clever over strong, which I love, but it also goes with the doubling element of math. So lots of fun. Highly recommend. Beautiful artwork. I've yet to find a book by Demi that I did not fully enjoy, so I highly recommend One Grain of Rice by Demi. Number 3, it did not make it into my autumn post, but it should have because it was that good. You can only recommend so many books to make it a good blog post, and this one sadly was cut, but love this book. It is called Fall Is Not Easy. It is written and illustrated by Marty Kelly, and I think it's just really funny. This tree can do winter, spring, summer. The tree understands how to do its leaves during that time, but fall is hard. And the tree just can't seem to get its leaves to change to a normal tree's fall colors. You've got all sorts of crazy patterns like a smiley face, purple with yellow polka dots. And then at the very end, just when the tree thinks it's about to get right, all the leaves fall off. So it's just a really funny, cute book, and it's got large text, simple sentences. So this is also a good book for beginning readers to read on their own. Highly love, highly recommend. Second favorite of 2021 was The Remember Balloons by Jesse Oliveros, illustrated by Dana Woolfcott. This book deals with Alzheimer's and different types of dementia, and I love it for explaining to kids what's happening to an older relative, because it uses balloons to represent memory. And Alzheimer's is a hard thing to explain, but what happens is at the beginning you have the boy and his grandfather, and the boy talks about his grandfather's balloons and asks him, hey, what's that balloon? What's that balloon? What's that balloon? And the grandfather shares the memory that is in those balloons. Then you see the grandfather's balloons are getting stuck on things, like on trees. Then the grandfather lets one go and the boy tries to catch it, but he fails. And then as time is going on, more and more balloons are being let go. And finally, a balloon that is a memory the 2 of them shared is let go, and that's very painful and even feels like a betrayal to the child. And the parents are able to explain it's not grandpa's fault, that sometimes when people get older, they can't hold on to their balloons anymore, and that we, through having those memories shared with us when we're younger, we then own those memories ourselves and we can share them back after they've let go of their balloon. So it was a bittersweet book, but I think it's very effective for explaining the Alzheimer's process in a way that children can understand. So sad topic, but really good book. And my top favorite, number one for 2021, hands down, no competition, Planet Earth is Blue by Nicole Patelikos. I apologize if I have mispronounced your last name, which I probably did, but your book is fantastic. Loved it so much. I felt like I was taking a masterclass in how to write. There was so much symbolism and foreshadowing, and I didn't see it coming. I can't share too much because I'd ruin this book and that would be criminal. You have to read this book. It is about the protagonist, Nova. She is growing up in the foster care system. Right before the Challenger launch, she's super into outer space, as is her older sister, Bridget. They tried to run away from their last foster home and were separated. Nova is autistic and she's mostly nonverbal, so a lot of people think she's stupid, and she's not. She's very smart. She knows a lot about space, but she doesn't have a way of expressing herself. And one thing that's interesting is this book is written in the first and third person, which I don't always like, but it worked for this book because in the first person, Nova is writing letters to Bridget, and in the third person, we as the audience are seeing what's happening to Nova in her day-to-day life. And it's just absolutely beautiful and heart-wrenching. And if you want to know how to foreshadow, if you want to know how to use symbolism, you must read this book. If you're just looking for a good read, it is incredibly well written. But this book, like if this was a fine meal, like this would be served at a Michelin star restaurant. It was amazing. Please read it. It is fantastic. Again, I can't praise it highly enough because then I would spoil it, and I really think that would be a crime. So those were my top 10 books for 2021. I hope you enjoyed them. I hope you check some of them out. Again, I am filming from the Joseph T. Simpson Public Library. Please support your local libraries because I have gotten all of the books I recommended from them, and they are amazing places, and everyone should love their libraries. All right, have a great 2022, and I'll talk to you later.